There is something so nice about having something settled, especially when it comes to camera gear. It's great to know that you've made the right decision about a piece of gear and you can just ride it out, focus on creating. I currently own what I thought was going to be my last 70 to 200 millimeter lens. And this is the Canon EF 70 to 200 2.8 L version 3. And when I bought this lens, it was the best 70 to 200 that Canon made. But eventually, I upgraded to the RF system by getting the Canon R5. So I adapted all of my EF lenses to the R5, which worked out beautifully at first because my EF lenses actually were sharper and focused quicker on the Canon R5 than they did my 5D Mark III. But eventually, because of some flaws that I found in some lenses, I decided to upgrade to my first RF lens, which was the Canon 50mm 1.2 L, the RF version. My next RF lens was the 35mm. I bought this mainly because of the price. For an RF lens, it was pretty inexpensive and I didn't have a 35mm at all. So I needed this focal length. And then my next lens was the 15 to 35. I rented this a couple of times and I realized I needed this focal length in my bag. So it came time for me to reevaluate my Canon EF 70 to 200 version 3. And I found that it was super sharp, the colors were amazing, and the more that I looked into it, the more I actually loved this lens. And actually doing some research, I found that the quality in the RF version was not really superior to the quality in the EF version. So I decided to stick with my EF 70 to 200 2.8 L version 3. So I've been doing pretty well fighting the urge to buy a new lens, but Canon just released a new RF 7200Z. And of course, this made me reevaluate my lens once again and decide, is this the lens that I should stick with or should I consider the upgrade? But one major part of this upgrade is the price. The new Z version, $3,000. That's right. And it's just as big as the one that I have, even though it is lighter. And it's $500 more than the one I was even considering. So this made me go back and reevaluate the whole focal length. And is it one that I really should be investing this much money into? And I thought about it. The 70 to 200, why do you need it in your bag? Well, first of all, it is the most artistic lens that I have in my bag. Have you seen what this lens does at 200 millimeters? It really just creates some bokeh that is so dreamy. It can make just about any background look amazing. And if you have a great background, get ready. It's going to produce some amazing images. The bokeh is amazing. Also, compression. Again, getting back to the backgrounds that it can produce, even if something is far away, you can use it as a painter would to frame your subject in a beautiful way. And finally, the focal length is just necessary. I shoot events, so I need to zoom in on people sometimes. And sometimes I don't even want them to know that I'm shooting them. This lens is the king of that. And also, if you're shooting in studio, it narrows your focal range so that you can get more on a background than you could with another focal length that was wider. So yeah, I need it in my bag. So those are the pros. Now, to highlight the cons of this lens, let me show you some pictures that I took with it on my bucket list trip to Italy and Greece. I can't show you any pictures from my bucket list vacation from this lens because I didn't even take it. Because of weight requirements and the size of it, I just decided to leave it at home. And just like I always do, I immediately regretted it. The other flaws of this lens is it's big and it is heavy. And to top it off, you have to add the adapter, which makes it even longer. And that's why I really would love to upgrade to the RF lens. Not the Z, but the first one. I have a dream of actually walking around with this lens attached to the body. Here's what I mean, is when I want to use this lens, I just can't travel with it attached to my camera body, so I'm always having to put it on. Man, I just can imagine arriving at an event and just taking out my camera and the 70 to 200 is already attached. But is that worth $2,500? That's the question. But if you don't bring a lens with you at all, is it really worth much? So I have a big $2,500 decision to make. Do I stick with the EF version that's heavy, super long, and not very portable? Or after 5 years, do I upgrade to the RF lens that is lighter and travels more compact? We're gonna have to see. And I hope you tune in and we'll find out together. But you know how I feel about it. Whatever we're using, I just hope that we're using it and I hope that we're enjoying it. Until next time, peace.